And please write your student number on the chat. Sorry, I forgot about that now. Okay, so we're going to look at two actually three type of things that or areas that you raised that you're struggling with. So the first one, we're going to look at the proportions, and then we'll do as many questions as possible under the proportions, and then we're going to look at proportions and ratio. I think proportion and ratio, they go together. And then we're going to look at the counting rules. And lastly, we will go and do the financial time value of your money. And this will depend also if we do get questions in the exam paper that relates to time value of your money, which is moving money backwards or forward. Okay. So are you able to see the PDFs? Okay. So remember, the proportions, we use ratios to calculate the proportion as well. And remember that your ratio is denoted. So to do a ratio, I need my pen to be up. To do a ratio, it's denoted by denominator. But denominate, what do you call this? Numerator to the denominator. Or I could have just write the. So we denote it like that. So it will be numerator to denominator, or we say it is numerator to denominator like that. So it means if we convert this into a fraction, we can just write it as numerator over denominator. It means one and the same thing. And we can use the ratios to calculate the proportions. So here, on question number 4, actually, it says if the ratio of A to B is 4 to 5, and the ratio of B to C is 3 to 4, and the ratio to C to D is 6 to 7. Find the ratio of A, B, C, and D. That's all what they want you to do, is to make sure that you only have one ratio that tells you the ratio of A to B to C to D. Based on the information that they give you, it looks a little bit complex, but it's not. So what you can do as well is, I see what you mean. You get very confused with this because they give you A and B and B and C. So if I need to get the ratio, the total of all of them. So for example, the total will be based on all the information, but now because B to C is not the same as A to B.
Exactly.
Exactly. So we need to find between B and C. So in a nutshell, what this thing is saying is, if the ratio of A and B is 4 and 5, so B has one additional more than A, and B and C, B is smaller than C in this instance, one smaller than C, and it also on this one it says C is one smaller than D. So if that is the case, then let's assume that our A is 4 for this one. Then there's, if A is 4, then B in this instance will be 5 plus, we know that it's smaller with 1 from 3, so we can add 1 to the 5. And we know that C is 1 less, so we can also add 1 to 6, then it becomes 7. So therefore it means B might be 7. So if B is 7, then it will be more than that. So we need to calculate the total. Oh, first let's do this. Let's calculate the total of the proportion of all of them together. So we know that all of them together will be for A, B, and C, it will be 7 because that is 5. Adding 1, it will be 7. If the total is 7, it's not gonna be 7 because this side is, no, I am totally lost at this. Wait. It makes things very difficult at this point. So what we can do is we can convert all of them and say for the first one, it's 4/5. For the second one, it says for B, it will be 3/4. And for the last one, it will be 6/7. To calculate the total of all of them, we can just find the numerator. What will be the denominator? What will be that number that all of them can divide into and not leave a remainder?
So just give me a second.
So we can actually even say 5 times 4 times 7 equals
140.
Oh, that would be a very big number.
Yeah.
So if we say this is 140, and we say 5 goes how many times into 140? Divide
28 times.
5, it goes 28 times 4. It's 112. It's not gonna work. 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 Alternatively, because then now, what makes it difficult is because the next one also uses the first value for that. So it means here it says the ratio of A to B is 4/5. That is the ratio of A to B. But the ratio of B to C is 3/4. unless that will be for A to B, but that is not A. So if A is 4 to 5, that is that. But we know that B to C, B is 3 to 4. So then it will mean that if this one was 9, this would have been 5. No, this would have been 8. This would have been 8, and this would have been 9. And the ratio of C to D is 6 and 7. So therefore, if this was 3, then this will be 9. No, that's 4. This will be 11, 12, 10 to 11. How will you then combine both of them? How did they answer it in the in your memorandum? Did they give you step by step on how they answer this question? Because you should have received the answers from the, because I can't think of any way of getting this to correspond.
I don't have the memo with me, or I'm just gonna go check now on my UNISA.
On my UNISA, they should have given you the memo and say how they would have calculated it. Because based on that,
I'm just logging in now.
because I know that sometimes they just give you an option, and based on that, we can try and see if I can find the logic behind how they did that.
So I have the memo in front of me, and this is a long explanation.
Yeah,
but
so I think
they say question 3. I'm sorry, the answer 3 is correct. But this is a long.
Answer 3 is the right one.
Yes.
Okay, let's see what answer 3 looks like. I know that they would have multiplied somewhere. So,
so they say the most sensible approach would be to start with the ratio B and C equals 3 to 3 and 4. and to represent the value of A and D in the same order.
Sure. Okay,
This
so
is a very long explanation.
yeah, but I don't
Oh,
think in the exam they will ask you to do this long calculations like this. But what you can do as well is because we're given A and B, wait, let me just go back and see again now. Oh gosh. So yeah.
I think we all didn't come prepared for the session.
No, not this one. Not the
Yeah.
way they, yeah.
We didn't come prepared for this session. But we can move on to question 6 if you like. Because I have the memorandum in front of me and I'll go through it as, next week. And then see if I can understand it.
Yeah.
And work
Because
it out myself.
I would have used like I would have simplified it first by making sure that all of them like I get the actual values of B, the actual values of C, and the actual value of
So
because all of them needs to make up a ratio of 1. Yeah. So yeah, this I never even looked at this from your assignments. It's one of those. Okay. But I hope in the exam they will not ask you to answer questions like this, where it requires you to do a lot of calculations, whereas they could save you time.
But we can go on to question 6. Or we can go to Tristan's question.
Otherwise, alternatively as well, like I did the first one, instead of doing the addition, I think we are supposed to do the multiplication. I think it will work that way. So if you do a multiplication, then it will give you the lowest common multiple of all of them. And that will, I think so. And then from there, then you can calculate what will be A and what will be B, what will be C, after you find the product of all of them. I just want to see if there is a shorter way. Because then it will give you because the other one, this, if you convert all of them, for example, I'm trying to see if I can find a better way for you instead of going through all, because this for A it would have been 4/1 like that.
Okay.
Because we know that eventually the ratio of A would have been 4/5. And then you would have also have to calculate the ratio of B and C, which then the ratio of B would have been 3/4 to 1. And the ratio of C and D would have been 6/7 to 1. Therefore, no, I'm getting it all wrong then as well, because it cannot be 2. Yes, it will have been 2, 1, because then from here, then you can think you would have multiplied or find the this would have converted to a multiplication, and yeah, no, this one actually, I think it is a very complex one.
So I've also tried all that, the process you tried now.
Yeah.
And I've also stuck.
I think eventually you will have to add and find the lowest common multiples, because we'll have to add them all up. Because eventually we have to bring it back to being a whole. So, and if you add, we're still going to go back to having 140, because 7 times 4 times 7, what will be the value that goes into all of them? It will still take us to 140. And when you solve it, probably eventually you will get to that answer. I'm not sure. But yeah, you will have to follow what they have done there on your answer sheet, if they did give you step by step.
Yes.
Okay, so without wasting any time on this one, because then it needs someone to go through it in more detail, we can look for one more ratio calculations. Usually it's only one question in the exam paper on ratio. And on this one, and I always thought they always give you simple questions like this, because then it makes it easy. So we know that it's numerator to denominator. So if it says ratio of this to that, then it tells us that we're going to do 250 to 15, which we can turn it to 250 divided by 50, and you can solve it, which makes it easier when you are writing exams. And the answer would have been, because then if we take it back to 1, because we'll always have to take it back to 1. And your answer would have been 250 divided by 15, which is 17 or 16. Oh, yes. The other thing you also need to take into consideration, the unit. There are of different units. One is centimeters and one is meters. So you will need to convert meters to centimeters. So if we convert, you will have to convert 15 meters, or you can convert centimeters or meters. How many centimeters are in a meter? We'll need to convert that first before we can use
Is it times 100?
it's
15 times 100.
15 times 100, and that is how much?
1,500.
That will be 1,500. And this, we say 250 centimeter divided by 1,500 centimeters.
So it would be 1/6. 250 goes into 1,500 6 times. And option 4.
And that would have been option 4.
That is simple.
Yes, and that's what they give you in the exam. So if I look at other questions as well, like I think maybe they're trying to upgrade from giving you simple stuff to giving you complex things to get you to think outside of. But when they do this, they should have done it in the workbook as well, so that you know or practice around how to solve questions typically like that.
Yeah, that is why I struggled with that particular question, because what the information that was in the workbook didn't correspond with the question that I asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine.
If there is no
I'll figure it out.
From this exam paper, there was no ratio questions. Let's look at this one as well. Usually there is only one question, so not like they will give you so many questions relating to the ratios as well. So, okay, so also on this question, there is nothing on ratio. Okay, so if we go there, it's not gonna be anything on ratio. So you'll figure out the ratio part of it.
Yeah,
And the other thing you asked was
I think we can move on to Tristan now. I think I've used about 30 minutes.
Tristan is asking financial maths. Financial maths is those at the end. So let's move like with the basic ones, and then we'll do the financial maths one. Tristan, you are also allowed to talk and engage on these topics. It's not like it's only for Brian, it's for everybody.
Okay.
Yes, so the other question, it says there are 7 candidates for the position. In how many ways can a selection of 4 be made amongst them? So we know that there are 7. How many of 4 can be made? But now, here is the other thing that they also do on you. In your module, they do not go and explain in detail how to use with selection, with the replacement or without replacement. You need to know those things, because in your module, these things are non-existent. In your module, they do straightforward counting rules. They say there are 6. How many number of ways can you place them in a box? Straightforward questions. Whether you're doing a multiplication rule, or you're doing a factorial, or you're doing permutation or combination, they ask questions in a straightforward. Here, it says 2 persons whose qualifications are below par are excluded. So now, they're talking about no replacement of those things. So even though they are selecting 4, but they say 2 people will be excluded from there. And the other one, it says 2 persons with qualifications are included. So there is a replacement and there is a non-replacement also. Which one do you use? Number 1, you need to decide with this, because the first one says exclusion, so that is without replacement. So there is a different way of doing it. So if you need to select 4 positions out of 7, here we're going to be using a is it permutation or combination? So they didn't tell you, so they didn't specify. So this will be a combination question. That's one. Number two, they also are telling you that 2 people are excluded from this. So you know that there were 7. If they are excluding 2 people, they will no longer be 7 people who are selected from this. So therefore you left with 5 people in the pot. So your combination question would have been so also this is very tricky now. So we know that there were 7. We need to know how many to place the 4. And 2 persons whose qualifications are below par are excluded.
So if this is a combination question,
It's a combination question. But
are we going to use the formula?
Number 1, it says 2 persons with whose qualification below par are excluded. So if the 2 are excluded, therefore the number from 7 they are reduced because we're not counting those ones.
To 5 candidates.
So you are left with 5 candidates. But if you do a combination,
so are
you
we
get
going to
an
use the
answer
formula
of 5.
Yeah. So is A going to be 5?
So it says A would be 5.
And B?
But also, here is the other thing. By the fact that they are telling us 2 are excluded from this, wouldn't this then change to become a permutation question or a combination question? Because they are telling us, they are giving us, so remember with permutation, preference is given. So here they are giving us preference of who we need to exclude and who we do not include, or who we need to include into this number, this 4 person that we need to select for the position. So since they are mentioning this, it means they are giving you the preference that they don't want those 2 people to be included in the last. So there is a preference. So this then becomes a permutation question. It's not a combination question. But it also goes back. You see how tricky these things are like now. With B as well, it says 2 persons with good qualifications are included in that. They still give you some sort of preference of who needs to be in that. So do we treat it as a combination, because obviously there will still be 7 people in the committee. There will still, sorry, in this position for the selection, there will still be 4. But we need to make sure that in that 4, 2 people with good qualification should be included in there.
So again, I have the memorandum in front of me.
Mm.
And it says question, the option 1 is the answer, so it's 5, A is 5 and B is 10. And it's a combination.
They are both combinations.
Yeah, the
Then the
formula
other
is
one
combination.
includes the 2, so it will be second functions and CR4. But if it's A, that's where my other question will be then. If it's A, so for your A, your combination, for B, your combination will be the 4 and the 2. Your N will be 4, or is your N 5?
M is 5. 5 candidates, X is 2, and then the O equals to 10.
X is 2. How can X be 2? So then, so it means in there, you see, that's where things don't make sense as well. They're saying there are 4 candidates. How many number of ways of selecting those 4 people? But they say at least 2, so that 2 persons with qualifications are included in there. The first one, 2 people without qualifications are excluded in there. So it means those 2 in the first part, they get automatically disqualified from being included, from being part of the selection. The second part, it says 2 persons with qualifications should be included in there. There are already 7 candidates. We know that those 2 needs to be part of the 4 as well. So how does why do they use 5 instead of 7 for number 2?
For number 2, they say because the order of placements is not important, we want to determine the number of combinations of X equals to 2 out of M equals to 5 candidates. The formula is the combination formula.
No.
And then the answer, and then what they say is if 2 persons are included, there are 10 possible selections of 2 out of 5 candidates.
There should have been more than that, because how do they exclude the 2 if in the question they didn't, for example, like they do not have to confuse you when they ask these questions, because A and B are standalone questions. Unless if they link A and B together, make sure that since in A we have excluded the 2, therefore when you answer number 2, you also need to exclude the 2. And that is the logic in terms of how you answer this, the combination or counting rules based on replacement and non-replacement. And this, the way they have asked it, it does not make sense to exclude the 2 and only use the 5 in B. For me, actually, the number B would have been wrong, because B should be at least 7 combination 4, because all those in there, we need to make sure that they were the 2 are in there, but it doesn't take away the fact that 4 people are still going to be included in the committee, which should be 35. The answer for B should have been 35. But if they want you to think like that when you've answered A, since you have excluded the 2 from A, following up, in B, you need to, you still have excluded them. You still have excluded 2 people. So you are left with 5 people. That is how they've answered it. They say, since in A you have excluded the 2, answering B, it means you can continue answering the questions from there. So for me, I would have assumed that then A should have been part of the whole sentence then, so that then you apply that when you answer any of the questions following up, because then A and B means 2 standalone questions. But who am I? I am just a tutor. So based on what they say, so you will just follow that. So if I look at more other questions that look almost exactly like that.
So you can imagine now how we suffered.
I can imagine. Yes, because
I also tried all.
Yeah.
I tried all possible scenarios and I still didn't come out with the answer.
Yeah, no, they need to be clear in how they would have asked the question. If A and B are linked, because sometimes A and B are different questions based on the statement. So when you treat A, you will treat it different to what you would have treated A, because one with the replacement and the other one is not with replacement. Okay, so you see how they would have asked you the questions. It's the same thing as what you have been training or you've learned in your module from your study guide. You get simple, straightforward questions that will ask. Students are writing a test with 8 long questions. They must answer exactly 4 out of 8 questions. What is the total number of choices? See how straightforward these things are. Not to complicate your life while you are writing the exam. You have 2 hours in the exam. You cannot be panicking and trying to find all type of scenarios in the exam. And this is what they have trained you for, because this is what is in your study guide. This is what is in your workbook. And if my plea is, if they need you to go into an advanced and to answer the question in an advanced mode, they should give you as well the opportunity in the workbooks, typical or similar questions.
Yeah.
And we as tutors, we also need to make sure that we are prepared for that, because at the moment when I prepare my study guides, my material, and I prepare the classes, I'm preparing them based on the past exam paper, based on the workbook that you have, and based on your study guide. I don't go beyond that, because going beyond that, it means I'm teaching you things that your lecture hasn't taught you. And since I don't receive also your assignment questions, so it makes it difficult for me to know how they ask you your assignment questions. I get them way after you guys have submitted your assignment from you guys when you share with me. So, but these are typical questions that they will ask. So also you get 1 question in the exam. And now here I'm going to doubt myself very much, because I keep on saying you will get 1 question, and they might surprise you and give you 2 questions, because I can see that the person who is lecturing you for QMI now is doing things different from the past. So if you read this question, students are writing 8 long questions. They must answer exactly 4 questions out of 8. What is the total number of choices that they need to make? And this, because there is no preference, so it's also a combination question.
So the answer is 70. I mean 1.
And the answer would have been option number 1. Yes, because it would have been 8 and you will press the NCR. Oh, is it? It would have been 8 combination 4. If I look for other questions, I wonder who is your lecturer for this, because this was the there we go. There we go. So here is another one. If a building has 8 entrances and 16 exits, how many number of ways can a person enter? This is a multiplication rule. This is a multiplication rule, and multiplication rule says n1 times n2 because there are 2 values. So this will be 8 times 16. Which is 128 ways. Okay. Also in this exam paper, there was only one question. So if we look for another one, in the okay, that is financial math. There we go. There was one. Did I pass it? Oh, it looks almost exactly like the one we did. Oh, this was paper 1 and this was paper 2. So it asked almost similar questions. Okay, let's look at November 1. If we can find another one. And there we go. If there are 7 finalists in the ShopRite Boerewors competition, how many ways can the judge choose first, second, and third prizes? So there will be three prizes. Is this a combination or a permutation question? Preference is given. We know they need the first, second, and third. And this becomes a permutation question. And therefore you're going to say 7P.
Option 4 to 10.
And that will be option 4. And you see, this brings back to the same thing that I've been saying. You are going to use your past exam papers to prepare for this exam. You go to the exam, you get questions like you got from the assignment. I feel sorry for you because then you don't have that support in terms of the material, or you've trained or worked through some of this questions, variation of questioning, because history tells us the questions are almost similar.
Yes.
To what you get in your study guide. And it doesn't take you outside of the boundaries of or the knowledge that you know from your study guide and the workbook, because you also get a workbook. If in the workbook there are no advanced questions, I don't know how you prepare for the exam. Okay. And that is the 2 complex ones. So in the next 40 odd minutes, we're going to look at time value of your money questions, which I doubt if we might get them in all the exam papers. And this is financial maths. So if we go, financial maths is always right at the bottom of all the values. Okay, so now I'm in the course version. So one up. The wallpaper, what's a paper? What does it mean? Okay. Okay, so we'll have to look carefully on the questions on the financial math. To identify, but usually the time value of your money, you will see that this is a time value of your money because they will talk about obligations and they might talk about debt. So if a question comes up with obligations or debt, then you know that that is a question for time value of your money. Okay, so this is payments. And usually your financial maths questions are from question number 21 or so. They make the bulk of your exam paper, because about 10 or 12 questions comes from financial maths. Okay, so this is payments. Might be difficult to find time value of your money. So on that question paper, there was no time value of your money. And that's the other thing. I am not even sure if in your assignment did you get a time value of your money question as well. So depending on the lecture as well, who set the exam paper, they might have not included it, because I think most of the questions I get from the class, the classes that we have are from old exam papers. So also on here, this is amortization. Only 3 questions from financial maths. Is it possible? And that's true. You only got 3 questions from financial maths. No time value of your money on there as well. So, okay, on this one, it's very difficult to find those type of questions. Okay. So this is financial math. Let's see, maybe I moved quickly. Okay. This is financial math. This is amortization. Okay, so Tabo borrows money, pay for his repay. This is payment, so that's fine. That is compound interest. Okay, there we go. So here is your time value of your money. Lucky enough. Okay, Maditeboho has a personal loan at an interest rate of 12% per annum, compounded monthly. The amount she has to repay in 8 months from now is 2,000. What would her obligation be if she extends the loan to 11 months from now? So this one is moving forward from 8 to 11. There is nothing you can do there. Can I ask, are you using financial calculators, or are you calculating manually?
Manually.
You're calculating manually. Kristen, you calculating using your financial calculator?
Calculating manually as well.
Manual. Okay, so you both calculating manual, so it makes my life easy. Okay, so since all of them are moving forward, so we just use S is equals to P times 1 plus RT, R to the power T, because it's moving forward. You just, what is your R, which will be 0.12 divided by the compounding periods, which are monthly. Sorry. Your compounding periods are monthly, so there are 12. Your N now changes to be 11 months. You don't have, oh, sorry, your T, not N. Let's use T because I gave you a formula with T. Since this is in compounded months, like compounding monthly, it means any value I see here where it relates to months, it is already compounded. So you can use your 11 without multiplying it by the compounding period. Otherwise, you will take 11, divide it by 12, and then multiply by 12, which is the same answer. You will still get 11 as the answer. So your present value is 2,000. Calculate your future value. So what we'll calculate, it will be 2,000 times 1 plus 0.12 divided by 12 is 0.1.
0.01
to the power 11.
And the answer is 2231 over 3, which is 4.
And the answer is 2231.34. And the reason why it's 11 months, we're not considering the 8, it's because it's moving forward, because it says 11 months from now. So she was going to repay it 8 months from now, but she decides to repay it 11 months from now. So we disregard that, we consider 11 months. Okay, so number 2, if she decides to settle her debt now, like as in like now, how much will she have to pay back? Now, disregard the first one. You must go back to the statement. You go back to the statement. The statement says she is going to repay the money 8 months from now, and she decides to settle the amount now, how much she will. So our R will still be 0.12 divided by 12. What will be your T? Who can tell me what will be the T? Because this now is moving backwards. So when it's moving backwards, Your T will be minus 8. So you will say your S is equals to P times 1 plus R to the power T. Substitute the values and calculate. Because the money is moving backwards, we substitute. Our present value is 2,001 plus our interest rate was 0.01. Remember, it's still compounded. And our T will be to the power minus 8. And what will be your answer?
1846,97. Option 4.
That will be option 4. That's time value for your money. Let's look for more exercises. Hope we'll find one. Let's see if in the same question paper they have. Nope, that's not. Okay. I don't think they will have again another one. Okay, let's look at this. This one, it's paper 2. It might be the same as paper 1 for some of the questions. Okay, let's see. This is okay, still the same. So paper 2 was asking almost exactly the same questions. So we go to the next. Okay, while I'm still searching for the question, next week is the final week of the Numeracy Center. So you can, at the end of today's session, you can choose which exam paper you will go through from question 1 up until the last. And then next week we can discuss those questions that you were struggling with. Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Freddie needs that now. Okay, so that is payment. That's payment. So this one does not have time value of your money. That's payment. And that amortization is the last question. So let me look at this one. That's payment. It's annuities, that one. This. Okay. This is the present value of its compounding interest. This is compounding interest. So it's not time value of your money. So there is nothing on time value of your money in most recent exam papers. Let me see from your assignment questions if none of them was. Okay. I don't think you also did get a time value of your money in the assignment. Borrower money, 1,000 year, pay year 2, year 3. All of them are moving forward. So also we can use this as one of the time value of your money, because he's paying different amounts, but all of them are still moving forward. So you can treat them the same since they are all moving forward. And this one, now she adds another X amount into, so this is annuities. Quarterly, this is annuities. Time value of your money should always be at the beginning with after the compound interest. January, May, December. Okay. So you also didn't get a time value of your money question in the assignment. Very difficult to find those questions. Okay. Okay, that is simply interest. So there are no more questions relating to time value of your money. Maybe any other financial math question that you want to look at? Okay, those are the only exam papers I have, 2018, 2019. I don't have any more question papers. Unless in my folder. I have 2013 and 2014. You can look at that. I think one of them we did use that in class when we were dealing with time value of your money. Okay, sorry. These are annuities. Okay. This is compounding interest. This is annuity. Amortization. Annuity. Simple interest. Compound interest. Yeah, this is differentiation. Okay. We used one of this in class. Okay, we can relook at it. A group of friends started a social club 9 months ago. They opened a bank account, depositing 12,000, earning them an interest of 5.9. 4 months ago, they managed to deposit 7,000, earning the same interest. Today, they withdrew. Calculate how much money is left. All the monies are moving forward. There is none that is moving backwards. So 9 months ago, they deposited money. So since all of the money is moving forward, there's no need for us to even draw the timeline. You're going to calculate for your 9 months ago, what they've deposited, which is your present value, at an interest of 5.9, which is your R. We will say it's 0.059. Divided by compounding periods, which are 12. And our T is 9 months ago, so it will be that. So 1 plus R to the power T. And then you will also have to calculate your S for 4 months ago. It's also moving forward. You will calculate your P, 1 plus your R to the power T. So in this instance, this is your present value. Interest are the same, so your interest will be 0.59. And your T for this one, will be 4. And then just substitute into the formula. So your P here will be 12,000 times 1 plus your rate. What is 0.59 divided by 12? That is that whole number, the long, very long number. You will have to write it all out. I'm just going to write few of those values. But when you're doing the calculations, remember to use all of the numbers. I'm going to stop right there. To the power of 9.
So I have 12,541, comma 56 for 9 months.
Okay, then you must do the 4 months, which is 7,000. 1 plus 0.0049166 and some number. You must use all of them to the power 4. And what do you get?
$7,138.
7,138
and 69 cents.
69. So now you're going to say S9 plus S4, which will give you 12,541 rand 56 cent plus 7,138 rand 69. and it will give you how much?
$19,680.
19,680 rand 25 cents. That is the future value. But today they withdrew 10,000 rand. How much is left in the account? So we need to subtract the 10,000 that they withdrew. And the answer you get is option
2.
Option 2, because they end up with 9,680 rand 25. Let me see if the top one was not time value as well. We'll go see pay money, 5 years contract dealer. This is annuities. Okay. That was amortization at the top. And 22. Let's see if it's not also pay savings account, money, deposit. Okay, how much will be at the end of 2 years? That's compounding interest. And also this is amortization again. Okay, I think that's it for financial maths. And those are the topics we looked at. But I am still going to look at that question number 4. I'm worried, I'm very much worried how you guys can, are you going to answer exam questions that looks like that? I will look at it. I will also try and make a mini video explaining how to solve it. Maybe I will find a simpler way or simpler solution to it and post it on the WhatsApp. I'll make a 60 minutes quick video that can fit on WhatsApp. All right. Any other question?
No questions from our side.
No questions by my side too.
Okay, then if there are no questions, we can call it the quits and enjoy the rest of the evening. But we need to decide which question paper you guys are going to go through so that I can also go through it and be prepared for the next session as well. So maybe during the course of the week, or even today, you can decide which one, or during the course of the week, you can decide which question paper and post it on the WhatsApp, the question paper that we can go through, because next week is the last session. After next week, I don't do any more assistance for UNISA students, because then the numeracy center is closed for the exam period. But I know that you guys are writing your QMI module later. You are more than welcome to also contact me or send an email to ctntouch@unisa.ac.za. But then in terms of workshops, next week will be the last week that we have a workshop together. Okay, good luck and all the best. See you for the last time next week, Friday.
Yes, thank you very much, Raji. Much appreciated.
No problem.